goal. Side of goal. And what a goal.
We done it! Yeah! 3-2, baby! Get in! This is what it's all about. Sorry I'm late, celebrating, giving it fucking loads. Went up to the neighbour's garden, done a Klinsmann into his garden. Fuck you! All the slagging they were giving me before the match. Ask me balls. Come on, 3-2, baby! Fuck me. I nearly gave myself a bleeding heart attack. Nearly choked me fucking chicken dinner. But all's good and well. All's good and well. I'm going to leave it to a few boys here. Jesus Christ, I'm after doing 15 laps of me fucking estate. Giving it up. Everyone thought I was going mental. Oh, Jesus. Let's calm down. Relax, everyone. Relax. Jesus Christ. Let's pick the bones. Let's see what happens. What are we talking about? Kyle Walsh Gunner in the house, the biggest smile, and he's fucking looking like E.T. What's his name? The little young fella cycling the bike.
I look more like fucking E.T. yourself, then why?
Oh, mate, how good did it feel?
Unbelievable. When the ball hit the back of the net, I nearly fucking had a heart attack. Boss. Not good, then boy. It's not good, my friend. We got our 3 points there, boy. Everybody is getting excited. It's time for everybody to calm down. This is not fucking good enough. And if we keep our luck, then boy, is going to run out soon. Because over the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's not the but luck. Today's performance was not only shocking, and if Bournemouth were any good at all, we wouldn't be coming away with 3 points today. Yes, brilliant. I'm over the moon, but it ain't fucking good enough. And the fans then, I hear certain fans shouting about VAR and referees. Fuck off. All excuses. We won. We got our 3 points. Brilliant. But I want everybody to hear these words come from me. I made up in my... I'd be saying all this at the time, Del Boy, but today I'm saying it straight up. We ain't winning no fucking Premier League. Everybody calm the fuck down. Not good enough. Haven't got the squad. We're relying on Nedson come on and change the game for you. Fuck me, Pink. Bournemouth are fucking useless. Useless.
Manny, I'll come to you next. You were in the house. Have you calmed down? Relax. Cool the jets, Del Boy. You know what I mean? What's the story?
Football. Bloody hell. Alex Ferguson could not have said it any better, and his words are more significant today than at any point in time during his managerial reign, and they will probably be significant for us at several points during the season. But everything that our dear friend from Wexford said, absolutely spot on. I will, I've got some chats right now on my Instagram, some messages on my Instagram chat saying, the performance of champions, we are going to win the league.
Oh,
Kyle, I'm going to invite you to one of these chats one day. You need to school some of these people, seriously.
Manny,
Yeah.
you would like me on any of your shows there, mate. I would gladly jump on. Just give me an Instagram, I'll go on, no problem.
Definitely.
I was on the Aussie Gooner show there the other day with the chap Hospice or something his name is. And it was a very good conversation. And at the end of it, he thanked me and all for saying what I had to say. Lads, listen, I'm a realist. I've been around the block too many fucking times. I'm supporting this club for the last 37 years. And I'm telling everybody, and I think I'm the only one that's telling people, we will not win the Premier League title with this fucking current squad of players. And over the next coming weeks, I will be pro-Rice. We got out of jail today against Bournemouth. They're fucking useless, then why? The performance of champions. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, listen.
The last kicking the ball against fucking Bournemouth.
Exactly.
The champions, we should be beating Bournemouth 4-5 fucking lead like the Invincible team and like other great Arsenal teams from the past. Not this fucking shit.
Exactly. The great Arsenal teams from the past, mind you, would never leave until the last minute to beat a team in the relegation zone. Believe you me. I remember in 2002 when we won the double, we went 2-0 down against Aston Villa at then Highbury with Paul Merson scoring against his old club and then Steve Stone making it 2-0 at half-time. Then we brought on Martin Keown and Sylvain Wiltord for the second half. They changed the game and I think we scored win in the dying minutes to make it 3-2. I don't recall if it was Thierry Henry who scored that winner. If it was just typical. But that was the type of performance that you could say was a performance of champions against a team like Aston Villa, who were certainly no pushovers at that time, who had some good players in their own right, and who knew how to play. Against Bournemouth, a team that caught us cold for the first goal, a team that exposed our defensive frailties at the back, and basically proved whatsoever that for all of Alexander Zinchenko's technical ability and value to the midfield, he simply cannot defend. I'm sorry, I can't accept that. Not the performance of champions in my book. We allowed Senesi to go unmarked to get that second goal past Ramsdale with a bullet header, which was past him before he could even blink, leave alone try and get down to save. There were several moments where we were absolutely lucky, and although Ramsdale did pull off one excellent save in the first half and maybe one or two other ones, he gave the ball away to Jadon Anthony, who could have punished it. Bournemouth actually also, like Aston Villa, that day at Villa Park paid really for their naivety and also for their time wasting. I guess it goes to show that A, if you want to play and beat us, you've got to take your chances, and B, you try and waste time and try and play the fool, you're going to end up the fool. But let it not be. You've seen my chats there where I said that we can't look a gift horse in the mouth 3 points at 3 points any which way. But what Kyle Walsh has said is wonderful, and I'm reminded of a wonderful quote which I learned from somewhere. You can BS your way to the top, but you're not going to stay there. And several have been the times this season, Del Boy, where we've had, performances where, we've absolutely been diabolical in the first half and have, not been good value. And then the second half, somehow we turn it on and have people lapping it up saying, that's the performance of champions. The sign of champions is a team that will win from a difficult position. I'm sorry, but champions do not get themselves into trouble, create trouble for themselves, and then put in a Herculean effort to get themselves out of it. I'm sorry, that's stupidity.
I'll tell you.
Marco Pierre White always said, I'll be very brief, I promise you. I know the TJ has to. Marco Pierre White said, perfection is simple things done exceptionally well. And the best thing about people like Kyle Walsh and myself is that you cannot feed
just when we were coming to the punch.
us crap. And if anyone ever dares to, come at us and say, if anyone ever dares to come at us and accuse us as being far too negative or being killjoys or what have you, I will tell you right now, on Mr. Walsh's behalf, history will always be a witness. We've been through this time and time again, and unless we are able to truly make sure that we take advantage of our good fortune, we will not be winning the league. United also had a few frailties against Newcastle today, but they pulled out a fairly convincing 2-0 win. And so we have to watch our backs more than ever, because if Bournemouth could give us trouble, if Everton could beat us at Goodison Park, I shudder to think what would happen when we come up against teams who aren't, mugs. And with that, I'm done for now.
I'll tell you one thing, there's been a lot of negativity from me two mates here, me regulars, two mates, but I'll tell you, a new person who's joined the house, TJ Warren's in the house drinking his Irish coffee and making his debut. What are you saying, TJ? You all good, mate?
I'm all good. Thanks for having me on, Del Boy. Big fan. Boys, we just witnessed a heist in broad daylight. I like I said in our Insta chat, I didn't even celebrate. I literally I got up and walked and got ready for my day because that I'm still in shock. Reece Nelson, they should give him a statue outside of the Emirates after that. To come into a game after not seeing the field. I mean, he hasn't seen the field since what, November, something like that. And to have that poise and to be that catalyst to come in, deliver that cross for the first goal, and then have the poise in the dying embers to slot it home like that. Class goal, by the way, one of the best of the season, I think. Shows a competitiveness and an edge that we haven't seen out of the rest of this team. So I'm in shock. The rest of the game was absolutely awful. I don't want to see Vieira in our midfield ever again. Period. The guy is not ready for the Premier League. He needs to go out on loan. Odegaard was a ghost today. Dead free kicks, dead shots. Who else? Emile Smith Rowe. He's not fit. He's not fit. I don't even know why he's on the bench. To be honest with you, get somebody from the under 21s there until he's 100% ready to go, because you don't see somebody sub on and then get subbed off unless they're hurt, and he looked like he was limping off after Trossard went off. So you're gonna see Reece Nelson get a start moving forward, I think, because it doesn't look like Trossard's in good shape. So I'm really anxious to see what happens with him over the next couple of days, especially with our Europa League game coming up on Thursday. So, big up Ramsdale. He came out and saved us. It could have easily been three. And again, we've said it, and it wasn't. If you have eyes, you understand that Zinchenko is not the answer at left back. Slot him in somewhere in the midfield and stop making my Scottish left back into Forrest Gump. He doesn't deserve to be sitting on the bench like that. Period. I'm never gonna get off of this until I see him start, and he'll probably start on Thursday. And I hope he delivers a worldly performance, because I don't understand Arteta's thinking. And honestly, if we had lost that game, I would be calling for our lineup was shambolic. Okay, so it doesn't show intent. Like, we didn't take Bournemouth seriously, and we almost paid for it. The win. Like I said, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't celebrate, because that was a garbage performance overall. So I'm waffling now. I'll let you get back to it, Double A. Again, thanks for having me on. But yeah, still in shock, my man. Still in shock.
Yeah, no, come here. No, in saying that, I completely get what you're saying, TJ. 100%. I really do. Like, I was going mad. I couldn't concentrate. I was up and down the sitting room. I was screaming. I was shouting. And when the goal went in, I think it was more a release of pressure, or by my phone just kept binging and binging and binging. And I knew. I said, these fuckers, a lot of Man United fans, Liverpool fans, all slating me. Even an Aston Villa fan. He fucking said, wasn't Del Boy be quiet when Arsenal are losing? Well, do you know what? I'm looking in the camera now, Mark Dunn. Fuck you. He's one fella I didn't get to. I will get to you, mate. You know I will. But anyway, come here. I'm going to jump in. Warren here. Warren, big up, man. I know you were doing your stream and stuff like that, but I don't know. Did the emotion get to you? Were you happy? Were you sad? Is it papering over the cracks? What are we saying?
Mate, I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. But 2-0 down, I thought we were going to have a comfortable afternoon. Maybe 2-3-0, something like that. And then we went 1-0. I thought, okay, all right, it's just a bit of a nightmare start, and we'll get over it. Then when it went 2-0, I started thinking, no, this ain't going to be our day. Do you know what I mean? But fair play to them. They got the result. I don't know what the performance was like, but listening to what everyone was saying, it doesn't sound like it was great. We won. If we do this, every game between now and the end of the season, we'll be champions. Simple as that. Right? But we cannot keep putting in performances like I suspect we have done today, and we can't expect to win the title. We can't. It's just not going to happen. We go and play, put in a performance like that against City at the Etihad, we'll get ripped to shreds. And we got to play Newcastle away, although their form seems to have nosedived in the last few weeks. So yeah, it's a bit of a worry, really. But we got over the line, and that's all that matters. At the end of the day, this time of the season, you've just got to get over the line. The performance doesn't matter. The points in the bag is what matters, and we got them. One more thing I want to say is what TJ was going on about Kieran, right? Kieran is my captain. Not only should he be starting, he should be fucking captain in this team. The passion that man has got is unbelievable. And it's not because I'm Scottish the same as him. It's not. It's got nothing to do with it. I want to see the best left back in the world playing. I don't want to see a guy who's an attacking midfield player who cannot defend playing at left back, right? He's obviously being asked to do this madness by his manager, right? That we need to stop this like ridiculous inverting fullbacks thing. It doesn't work. It's never worked. Stop it. And it reminds me of what Dean Saunders was saying on Friday on TalkSport, moaning about these so-called tactical experts going on about low blocks, and when all it is teams sitting deep and defending deep. See, the people are trying to bamboozle people by putting fancy names to things that have been around for donkey's years. It's all bullshit. Don't listen to him. And he's right. It is. It's just absolute nonsense. This inverted fullback thing, no, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. We are going to get undone big time. We're just lucky we played a team at second bottom of the Premier League today. And to come unstuck like that again at home against a team at second bottom of the Premier League is ringing massive alarm bells in my head, I have to say. So
yeah, I will go like me sort of second round of questions. I was thinking, look, I wanted to get people's feelings first, and I want to let's pick the bones out of it. Let's say when I come back, but I want to bring in Gemma because Gemma, you've been waiting there a while, and I'm sorry, just the feeling. But are you with me here? I nearly jumped out the sitting room window when the goal went in. I'm a passionate bleeding person. Now, I'll pick the bones out of it, and I'll probably go on a rant in about 5 minutes. But you're listening to Del Boy Gunner TV. I'm up and I'm down and I'm in and I'm out. What are you saying, Gemma?
Well, when the first goal went in, I was actually Bournemouth goal went in. I was out and I saw it 33 minutes in, and I dropped my phone on the counter and I was like, for fuck's sake. And Khan looked at me and he was like, what? I was like, they've gone 1-0 up.
Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. I had to cook a chicken and I nearly put my dog in the oven by mistake. I was so frustrated. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. But did you think we were coming back after 2-0?
No. Yeah. I said to him, I was like, game over. I just left my phone on the side and I was watching a YouTube watch along for the Tottenham game. And someone put on there, it's 2-1. So then I looked and I was like, Partey just scored. And then it was Ben White. Then he went to the bathroom and I ran in and I was like, Nelson's just scored the last goal.
It's just unbelievable, you know what I mean?
But it was crazy because I was actually thinking, I was sitting on the sofa and I was thinking, what's the likely chance Nelson comes in and shoots the last second of the game? And he did.
Yeah, well, do you know that it even is I had no confidence from the corner kick, the last kick of the game, and I'm just going, we're Arsenal. We don't get the Man United last minute goals and fucking all this shit. I can't see it. And I was standing up. I was getting ready to get me streaming all this shit ready, and I was, this is it. And next thing I'm there, oh my God, it's coming to Nelson, and it's in the back of the net. There was doors brushed aside. I just went mental. I must be honest. You know, I'm just passionate about my team. I love them.
How were your kids about it? Were they happy?
Oh they were out on the green playing football. They were like, Zach, the young fella, just says 2-0. Dad, it's done. We're cooked. I'm out of here. I'm going down to me mates and I'm going to try and play football and skill myself enough to play for Arsenal one day and actually fucking win. So he was done and dusted. I ran up to him, started screaming at him. My neighbours think I'm a lunatic going, this fella should be locked up. You know what I mean? And then running around with me bleeding, up to me mates, got me out with me mask.
Look.
Get in! That's what it's all about. But yeah, look here, I'm bouncing. I must say, I am. But look,
did you like the London Stadium the other day?
Yeah, well, yeah, Del Boy Hammer TV, yeah. I went down to the tour and he says there was something like 35 quid a head.
35?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ask me bleeding bollocks. That's what I says. Fuck off. And you can keep Declan Rice. We don't bleed him. Your man's just there looking at me. Who's this crazy Irish fella? But anyway, let's delve into it. Like Niall, or Jeremy, Niall, Kyle Walsh, fucking... What are you saying? Well, after the first goal, were you panic stations? Were you, was it calm in the Walsh household or what?
No, it certainly was not calm. Number one, you're playing at home in the Emirates Stadium. You're fighting for a Premier League title and you're going 2-0 down against a bad fucking Bournemouth team. And then people are talking about us being champions. So you're fucking joking. And I'll tell you another thing, let me get something fucking straight. You train the young fellas in the football. Now, you get the young fellas there to learn how to cross the ball and how to take shots from 20, 25 yards out. The Arsenal football fucking team wouldn't cross their fucking legs. The worst crosses I ever saw. And for shooting, every time I saw the ball was going over the crossbar, over the fucking stadium. And I know people are saying it's not about performances, it's about 3 points. But it needs to do with performances. Because they're coming up against fucking Chelsea, Newcastle, Liverpool, Man City. If we don't put in some sort of performance against them, we might as well not turn up. You have to perform to win. You don't perform, you lose. So let's get this fucking mentality straight here. And from what I'm seeing over the last 3 or 4 weeks, has proved to me that I'm right. Not going to win the Premier League. Forget about it. We'll finish second or third. And you know what I said to second or third? Fuck off. That's what I said to that shit. I had a fella last night, for example. I went to the shop. I'll tell you 2 things. I went to the shop and I met an Arsenal fella. You should be happy we're going to get top 4.
Oh.
I looked at him in the eye and I said, you're an Arsenal fan? Yeah. Sure, I'm happy. I said, go fuck yourself. What? I said, go fuck yourself. And the next time you see me on the fucking street or in the shop, don't fucking bother talking to me at all. Talking fucking shit. Number 1, ain't a fucking story. If not, fuck off. And let me tell you another one. I bought me daughter down to see Creed Part 3, this new Rocky film, this new Creed film. I spent the night there last night when I bought her down to see it. It was the first night in the cinema. Place packed. These 2 fellas I know are Spurs fans. Tipped me on the shoulder going into the cinema. Oh, we could end up boxing here tonight. I said, well, let me tell you something. If you fucking annoy me about the game, I said, I'll stick your fucking 2 heads in the fucking jacks. I said, I'll nick you there, no problem. Boys said, we're only joking. I ain't got time for fucking jokes, then what?
Yeah,
we're trying to win the fucking Premier League. And these clowns fucking messing and fuck off. What Spurs ever going to win? That's what I said to them. Let me get you another fucking straight up. Walked out the cinema, another Arsenal fan. Oh, so go on, Kyle, and he waving at me. You're going to be happy this year, mate, so we're getting top 4. What the fuck is wrong with the Arsenal fucking mentality? I looked across the fucking street and stuck me 2 fingers up and said, go fuck yourself. The daughter says to me, Dad, you're falling up with everyone. I said, I couldn't give a fuck at me. Number 1 is number 1, darling. And in life, you're only 13. You always compete to be number fucking 1. Now, if we start acting as number 1 as a fan base, this club is going fucking nowhere fast.
I'm telling you now,
because we're accepting mediocrity. I'm listening to last night about Reece Nelson coming on the feet today and scoring the winner, and it should be statue outside the stadium, not no reference to TJ. What I'm saying is that's what's being said, and lads are backing him up that he's a good player and he's a quality player. He's fucking useless. How many years has he been at the club? Let's get fucking things in perspective here. We go out, we beat Bournemouth 3-2, and everyone is fucking celebrating. Everyone's happy. Fuck that shit, that boy. It's not good enough, man.
I can see now exactly at the Emirates what's happening outside of the Tony Adams statue. Because I don't know if you've seen me vlogs or whatever that I was doing at the Everton game, but I had some videos on my phone that I was looking at, and I was just there going, I actually can't put them up because I done a Kyle Walsh. I fucking lost the plot. I'm telling you, I lost the plot because there was fucking arseholes at the stadium singing about Tottenham. Why? Why the fuck are you singing about Tottenham? Oh, mate, they got knocked out of the FA Cup. I don't give a fuck if they're bankrupt. I don't care. You know what I mean? We're not after winning a fucking game there. We're top of the league by 5 points. Celebrate that. Don't worry about any other team or anything like that. We still haven't won anything yet. Like, this is the fucking mentality. I might get one or two of them up, like, if I can. I'll look into them and see if I can fucking... Because I was effing and blinding. I was going mad. Because I don't get the fan base when it does this. Let's just concentrate on Arsenal. Let's enjoy this ride up. We're top of the league, everything like that, and grand or whatever. People are slagging us. Because when we were 1-0, went 2-0 down today, by Jesus Christ, my phone nearly melted. The amount of people texting me and fucking WhatsApp and Twitter and Twitter and Insta and fucking whatever else. They were dying to get on me case. And I'm fucking delighted. Because guess what now? I'm going around, I'm sending a picture of me fucking... I won't say live on screen, but I'll be fucking, yeah, tell me now, you bastards. You know, but I don't know. Look, we'll come back to the game and we'll probably indulge in that before the end of it. But Manny, I want to come to you. When we went 2-0 behind, were you thinking there's a chance? Or were you, that's it, we're done, we're bottling it?
You know, Del Boy, if there's one thing that's been a common theme this season, it's that even when we've gone down, we found a way, to our credit, to fight back and make sure that we score the goals we need to at least ensure that we get a point or maybe even pull off a win. So I suppose one thing you could say with the Arsenal, especially at the Emirates, for what it's worth, is that it is never over until it's over. And Lenny Kravitz would be saying exactly the same thing. The only problem was changes had to be made. And I think, once again, Bournemouth, like Aston Villa at Villa Park, and I think I was touching on this earlier, they made the mistake of suddenly starting to get a little bit naive, thinking that at 2-0 with less than an hour played, all they had to do was, just start to tighten up and become a little bit more defensive. But what they did was allow Arsenal to continue to come at them. And I knew, of course, it would only be a matter of time before we scored. And, of course, Partey ended up redeeming himself for that second goal being conceded by blasting it past the goalkeeper. And with Ben White scoring that goal, I actually thought that Neto had pulled off a worldie, but it turned out that his positioning was completely wrong and we had equalised. And believe it or not, the way we were exerting that much pressure and the way Bournemouth were once again forced to defend clumsily, desperately, albeit effectively, I'll tell you one thing. When I saw Reece Nelson with that ball, I was telling myself, go for it, son. Shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. And I just knew that we would at least hit the target or definitely score. And that's how it works. And that is one of those moments that once again makes you think, football, bloody hell. Now, Mr. Walsh has already said everything he needs to say about the negatives, and I don't want to beat that dead horse. But let's also take a look at one of the positives today. Some of the positives. We lost Trossard, which is going to be a huge blow because do we now dare go back to Edward Nketiah with Reece Nelson having done so well? Absolutely not. And again, I think TJ, our two Warrens, mind you, TJ and Mr. Bartholomew, have made it crystal clear that the idea of playing Alexander Zinchenko as the sort of inverted left back who doesn't so much overlap but cuts in and then goes through, it's just doesn't work. And I'm going to come to this chat right now. I'm glad you addressed it because I'm going to deal with a few other points. Fabi Vieira had one or two good touches, but didn't do very much afterwards. A lot of the shots were dead. When we had a free kick, that was an opportunity for Partey to show that he could, get back in it and score another goal the way he did in the North London derby. Many of us remember that absolute corker, but instead he let it off to Odegaard, who thought that he could be the hero once again. And once again, it was another dead free kick. So in actuality, once again, Saka was running and doing a lot of amazing work. Should have had at least a goal for himself and couldn't do so. Martinelli had some promise, but I think after Trossard went off, he looked a little bit isolated once again. And I think, Partey was, getting himself involved, but also making some needless fouls. It's very hard to look at some positives from this game. And even though Aaron Ramsdale did make, as I said, one really magnificent save in the first half and a couple more good other ones, he was pretty poor with his decision-making at times, had a shocking giveaway to Jadon Anthony, the former Arsenal youth player, who could have, taken advantage of it, but didn't. And my man of the match has got to be Reiss Nelson, really, because when he came on, he did everything that a lot of Eddie Nketiah's fans said that he would do. He was able to provide that new dimension to the team. He's the type of person who knows how to play as an all-round attacker, whether it's on the wings or even as a central attacker, sort of in the 10. That goal taken was a wonderful piece of opportunism. And Dale, if you could just please go back to that chat I posted, mate, because that is a really important question.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the guys could be in a position to answer here. Because if we remember carefully, Nelson actually came on as a substitute. I don't know if he started the match or came on for Saka, who got injured, but we all know how he scored 2 goals and should have had a hat-trick, only to end up being taken off. And many of us realists were saying, let's calm ourselves down. It's against a Nottingham Forest team that were bottom of the league that time. Nothing special. And even now, this result is against a Bournemouth team. Is nothing really special. And at the risk of getting gassed up about this, I've been saying for a long time that we run the risk of burning out Bukayo Saka if we do not manage his minutes. He's showing once again that he is, almost undroppable and how important he is to the side. But if one fine day his back tire explodes and we lose him for a long period, God forbid that doesn't happen, who do we have to replace him? And so it may be facetious in many ways to think that, Reiss Nelson will be the answer based on these 2 games where he's shown up and, stood up to be counted. But he's certainly done a lot more than Edward Nketiah could possibly hope to do. And I suppose the question that should be asked is, I agree it may sound facetious, but could we perhaps see a situation where if we have to start Saka, do we perhaps bring him off near the end of games and give Reiss Nelson a chance to play, at least giving us the impression that we may have cover for that position? Maybe this could be a question that some of the other guys can answer.
Yeah. Look, Amir, that's a question I want to just pick the brains of one or two of the boys here. I just want to, Brandon, big up to you, mate. But just before you come in, Warren just has to shoot off, so I just want to give him a shout out on his socials and stuff like that. Thanks a million, Warren, for coming on.
Thank you, Warren.
I think you're on mute there, Warren, if you can hear me.
You're on mute!
Yeah, Del Boy, look, thanks ever so much for letting me come on. And I'm sorry, but I do have to go, unfortunately. I wasn't expecting this to happen, but unfortunately I do. Big win today, but performance needs to improve. But at the end of the day, it's the 3 points that matter. So let's celebrate that. You can find me on Warren's Team Talk, my YouTube channel, on Instagram as well, and also on Twitter. What have I got coming up next? I'm not sure really. I'm going to do another show on Diesel's channel soon as well, paranormal video. Last one I did was about Princess Diana, which was absolutely amazing, I think, even if I do say so myself.
Yeah, it's very good.
But yeah, thanks ever so much for having me on, Del Boy. Great 3 points. Thanks to everyone else. And don't forget, everyone, who's watching, please put a like on Dell's video. Don't forget to subscribe if you already haven't. And make sure you share it around with at least one other person for Dell. All right? And I've got one last thing to say. Rangers are finished, mate. They're done. They're dusted. It's over. Come on, the Celts.
He goes out swinging. That's it, Warren. You tell them.
Well, I'll give you a call later on, mate, when you're finished.
Thanks.
All right?
Thanks for coming on. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
See you later. Bye, everyone.
Warren.
Brandon,
Bye.
I'll come to you, mate. You've been just sitting there, and then I'm going to go to TJ. Brandon, what are you saying? I'll just let it all out. Let it all out, mate.
Come on, don't fuck about, boys. Come on, for fuck's sake. Smile, you lot. Smile, yeah? Smile. 98th minute winner, yeah? 98th minute. I didn't even catch the first 50 minutes of the game. I ain't even going to lie, right? I took the kids out for the day because I thought Bournemouth, formality, easy 3 points, easy. And then I get in the car and I turn TalkSport on and I'm like, 2-0 down to Bournemouth. Are you kidding? At home as well. What the fuck's going on here? And I managed to get home just in time to watch all 3 Arsenal goals. And yeah, I mean, that last goal kind of reminded me of, Danny Welbeck at Leicester that season when we should have won the league but didn't win the league. The only difference this time around is I believe that's the type of performance, although as poor as we were, to get the 3 points still, that's a title winning performance for me. To score in the last minute, to be the difference between getting 1 point or 3 points and remaining 5 points clear of Manchester City with 12 games remaining. It's such a big thing because let's be honest, if we'd only took 1 point out of that game, all of a sudden, regardless of what happens, if Arsenal was to win the remainder of their games and Manchester City were to win the remainder of their games, it'd all come down to that game at the Etihad. And I am shitting myself about that game because we couldn't even beat them at the Emirates. So I don't think we stand a chance at the Etihad, personally. So we need to maintain this 5 point gap and probably look to extend it as well. I was hoping that City were going to drop points against Newcastle. City did very well to come through, 2-0 in that game. A tough game as well. Let's not get it twisted. For as poor as Newcastle have, sort of dropped off a little bit over the last couple of weeks, it's still a tough game. We've still got to go there as well. So we've got to match City's result. But yeah, that was just pure emotion at the end there. Reece Nelson came on and changed the game. And I don't know how many of you boys know this, but last week, Reece Nelson wasn't even on the bench for Arsenal. Yeah? He hasn't played since Nottingham Forest. And he wasn't even thought about last week against Everton. Eddie Nketiah was on the bench. Obviously, Eddie picked up his injury. He couldn't be on the bench today. But to come on and completely change the game, I know it's only Bournemouth, but he got an assist for the second goal. He scored the winner as well. Fabio Vieira, just take him back to Porto, bro, and get your 34 million quid back. That guy is not worth a piss. He really isn't. That guy, he's got a nice name and all that, but as a footballer, dead. Tomiyasu, coming in for Ben White, I understood it. It's only Bournemouth. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, Mikel Arteta's changes in the lineup didn't work today, but his substitutions did. And obviously he brought on Smith Rowe, Trossard going off injured. You kind of understand that one. But the bravery from him as well to bring off Smith Rowe after he'd brought him on and not just think, I'm just going to stick with him and this, that, and the other. To bring on Reece Nelson, I commend him. I really, really do. But I do not want to see a first 50-minute performance by Arsenal like that ever again. Because obviously, like I say, I didn't catch the first 50 minutes, but I can only guess that with us going 1-0 down in the first 9 seconds, we wasn't concentrating, we wasn't switched on, we wasn't, defensively very good again today in two moments which could have cost us 3 points. You know, to go 2-0 down as well, like I know you're trying to push for the 3 point, you know, try and get back into the game, but we've got to be better defensively. We really have, because if you break it down over the last 6 weeks, we've conceded a lot of goals. You know, Leicester, we kept a clean sheet. Today, we conceded 2 goals. Aston Villa, we conceded 2 goals. Man City, we conceded 3 goals. And for a team that had, at one point, the second best defensive record in the league, we have all of a sudden started conceding a lot of chances and a lot of goals against all opposition. You know, you shouldn't be conceding 2 goals against Bournemouth. 19th place Bournemouth at home. That is not good enough. That needs to be worked on. The manager had better get these players back on the training ground again. I heard Thomas Partey had a role to play in one of the goals as well, in terms of one of the Bournemouth goals. So maybe he's not quite 100% either. But defensively, if we are to win this league, don't get it twisted. There's 12 games left. We've still got to play tough teams. City has still got to play tough teams. There's going to be twists and turns. We're going to drop points. They'll drop points. Yeah. But we have got to stop conceding sloppy, stupid goals, because one day it is going to come round and it is going to bite us. And it could be the difference between us winning the league and not winning the league. But in terms of today, bro, I'm buzzing. Yeah, I was knee sliding across the living room and all that lot. So, you know, my kids were looking at me as if to say, "What are you doing, Dad?" But, you know.
Come here. Did you bring that polo neck as well with you when you were knee sliding, did you? I had to. But come here. Ardigan, I'm going to bring you into 2 seconds. TJ's been here sitting patiently. His Irish coffee is going fucking iced tea now at this stage. So, TJ, I'm bringing you in, right? What are you saying about Reece Nelson, and what way are you feeling? Like, his contract's up at the end of the summer. Does he deserve a new contract, a new year extension, or what are you saying?
I'm saying that, and that's a great question, because I'm with Brandon. I didn't even think of Reece Nelson before today, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of him. So to see him actually come on, let alone be on the bench, was a surprise, to say the least. So re-sign him. It's going to be short term if we re-sign him. He's been a utility guy. He's never been that consistent winger for us. Manny, I think you said in the chat you want to, you know, maybe sign him again and then bring him on in relief for Saka. Saka is just way too important right now. We're going to run him into the ground. But until we can get, you know, some sort of comfort in these games, he's going to play every single minute. He's the best winger in the world, so you can't take him off. In terms of signing Reece to a new contract, yeah, I would say it's short term. The squad depth, you know, I was saying, who show was I saying that on? I was saying it on Tony Claude's show last week, or no, not last week. That was a few days ago. That our squad depth was looking really, really good. Well, now we got Trossard off for however many games. Smith Rowe does not look good. Period. I think he needs to be rested, or, you know, waited until he gets back 100%. So, you know, it's good that we have Reece Nelson back there, but he's not a permanent solution in any way, shape, or form. Great game today. You can't take that away from him, but, you know, we need to go into the transfer market and find a winger that is going to be more consistent, and that we can depend on in that backup or bench role. So, you know, that's my answer to that question.
Yeah,
so
it is a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to sign off, guys, because we're gonna. I'm actually in Nashville taking my wife out for her 30th birthday. So, just want to say thank you very much for having me on. Legendary panel again. Thank you, Del Boy. Let's do something soon. I really enjoyed this.
100%, mate. 100%. Just DM me on Instagram or whatever. And thanks a million. Do you want to shout out your socials or anything like that?
Absolutely, yeah. So on Twitter, I'm just at TJ Warren. On YouTube, I'm TJ under Home and Away. I'm still working on getting my my visuals up. I'm working on some custom logo stuff. So once we get that up, I'm going to be doing some match reactions, going on a little bit of a tear. I would have definitely gone on a tear if I was back in Kansas City right now. But again, thank you very much for having me, Del Boy, and we will talk soon. Big up the panel, guys. Have a good one.
Man, mate.
Big up
Thanks
to
again.
TJ. Take care.
Talk to you soon. Oregon, in the bleeding house. What's the story? Thanks a million.
What's up,
Sorry for
fellas?
waiting. How are you saying?
I think I need to up my blood pressure medication. Somebody call my fucking doctor, bro. That was awesome. It reminded me when we were 2-2 with Bolton, I think in 2008, and we came back and won 3-2. You know, rainy night up Bolton, I believe. Anyway, that's in the past. I agree with a lot of what you guys saying. I don't know if Reese Nelson should be signed up, but I think Manny's onto something. Bring him in once in a while for Saka. He needs the rest. He's a 21, 22-year-old kid. He's got good legs, but he can't do it all. He just can't do it all. And with regards to Day, that was a shit first half. Probably one of the worst we've played since Everton. Everton was pretty bad. It wasn't it at their place. Gosh, not much else to say. Everybody's kind of covered everything. I just think that it's just pretty amazing that the team has shown so much fight. You know, that's one thing I was really hoping that, would continue on through the season is just we go behind, but we show so much fight. And again, if Saliba's foot is 3 or 4 inches over, maybe he blocks that ball from the first goal.
Like I even just to cut across you there, I think one of the most important parts of the game was I think they were was it the first or the second half? They went straight through on goal again, and Ramsdale made a world-class save. You know what I mean? And I think at that stage we could have been 3-0 down or something like that. That was huge.
Right. That was huge. There was Ramsey was pretty much the second man of the match for me. I mean, Reese Nelson wins it for me just because he was at the right place, right time. Beautiful goal. Could haven't scored it any better, But yeah, I think you're right. Ramsey even stayed our high, like even towards the end in the second half, I believe too. There was a shot that came in and was parried pretty close. I just don't know what we're doing defensively. We looked so good in the beginning of the season with Gabriel and Saliba talking about it being a perfect marriage, but fuck, man, they get pulled up the pitch. Our wingers are already up. Our fullbacks are up, and sometimes they just look like they're Bambi on ice out there. I don't know what it's going to take for them to just not commit so much to some of these balls that bounce around. Like Manny said it before in other streams, it's good, but it's not great, and it's not world class. Like the consistency of the defending is not good enough. Case in point today. But overall, I'm happy for the win. I was screaming on, into the chat and all that. It was just unbelievable. I was up at 6:30 this morning, and to watch that first half, I was pretty gutted. I got up again for this shit. But I just, had a little sip of something and started the second half. Got my day started. So, yeah, no, it was I'm pleased that we got the win, man. And again, I think the fight is there. I think the team believes in Arteta. I think they believe in each other. And for those who were saying Odegaard is disappearing, I thought he was all over the pitch today, trying to do everything he could do. His shot selection wasn't the best, but the guy's all over the pitch, pulling people up, pushing their necks up. And Tomiyasu's not good enough. We need to let him go in the summer. And we got the wrong Portuguese mid. We should have gotten Ruben Neves. So I got to say about Vieira, we should have made a real push for Neves instead of Vieira. But done and dusted now, Del Boy. Thank you for putting me on. Good to see you, Kyle, Manny.
Oregon, good to see you, man.
Hi, guys. Fantastic content. And you guys have a great weekend. And I'll talk to you soon.
You too, Pat.
Take care, mate. Thanks a million.
See you soon, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much.
See you there, best.
Lads.
So I'm just like the way that I look at it is I know Kyle's going to completely disagree with me here, but I'm just going to say it, right? I think with Reese Nelson, he has been unlucky with injuries and stuff like that. Is he good enough? I'm out there with him. I think we should give him at least until the end of the season. Let him put in performances like this and then sit down with him at the end of the season and go, mate, you've been brought through the academy. You should be wanting to stay. I'm sure there's not going to be that many clubs that are going to be queuing up to, as big as Arsenal to sign him. So it would be in his best interest to sit down and have a chat and just go, right, mate, you have a chance to, like, you know, break through Saka's position, which he won't, but he'd be back up to him. He'd be getting a lot of cup games, and give us a year or two and see what happens. You know, would you be on that, Kyle, or are you just getting rid of him?
That's right. He's the hero of the film today because he scored the goal and made a goal. So everybody is going to be bigging him up and shouting his name and give him this and give him that and give him another shot and blah, blah, blah. Out the fucking door with him, I say. Not good enough for Arsenal Football Club and has proved it. Injuries or no injuries, he ain't good enough. No, you're talking about him, may give a year, give him maybe 2 years, see how he goes. Coming on, give Saka a bit of a rest. Thereby, we're playing Champions League football next season, my friend. And if we're relying on Reece to play instead of Saka in Champions League games, forget about that. We're going out of that competition rapid. This is what I'm talking about. I always talk about the high standards. And as far as I'm concerned, he ain't nowhere near the fucking high standards for this club. Out the fucking door. Thank you. Bye-bye. You ain't good enough. Send him on down to fucking Newcastle or someone like that. Where Willock is. Not good enough.
Manny, I'll just full circle on you. Do you have anything to say add to that?
What can I say? I mean, I don't know if I can necessarily disagree with, with what Mr. Walsh is saying, and it is true that he has had a lot of injuries. I think what we can certainly agree on, Del, is that when it comes to the squad, there are quite a few, pieces of dead wood that need to be removed. And the fact that the likes of El Neni was signed to a new deal is not something that would sit well with me. And people can go on and on about how, he's a wonderful squad player who does add to the depth and who does a job, and that this 1 year deal is sort of like what Jesper Blomqvist had at Manchester United, sort of to keep himself fit and help him, get rehabilitated after his injury. And of course, lo and behold, at the end of that contract, he was allowed to leave. He then went to play at Everton and didn't last very long over there either. And we all know that things just fizzled out for him. I guess, maybe the nature of the way he came on and how he was able to change the game and sort of save our bacon, because bear in mind, as much as we can, rightly criticize the performance and say that, the performance wasn't good enough, he was the difference, it has to be said, between 3 points and 1 point. Had we gotten the point today, we would have been 3 points ahead of Manchester City, which isn't really a lead, because if they beat us and continue to win their games and maintain that goal difference, it's going to be a problem. We had a chance to at least try and win convincingly today and also put a huge dent into that goal difference, but we failed to do that. And circling back to Reece Nelson, I think, maybe I'm guilty of, looking at his performance with rose-tinted glasses and say, you know what, there is someone in there who can certainly, with the right sort of development, do quite well. I suppose maybe instead of, keeping him, he would be best served joining another club where he will be, treated a lot better by the physios. We seem to have a lot of our players getting injured all too often at Arsenal. Kieran Tierney's another one. And maybe when he leaves as well to go to Newcastle or maybe Aston Villa or any other club, the physios there will treat him a lot better, and he won't have that many injuries either. I just think, though, that the reason why I asked that question is because, again, when you have someone like Nelson, who does actually lend quite a bit of vision and who certainly does deserve a few chances for what he provides, unlike Nketiah, who's had his chances and missed completely time and time again, and is now, for what it's worth, injured, we might need to consider at least giving him more opportunities between now and the end of the season. And then if we still don't believe that he is the type of player who could take us to the next level, then maybe, it's for the best that we ask him to leave. But we now have a situation where if Nketiah is injured and Trossard is injured and Jesus isn't back yet, who do we put in our front line? And so, how do we answer that
Manny,
question?
sorry,
Can
Manny,
we make another emergency signing?
Manny, just 1 second. I just want to say, Peter, look, Peter Haywood, I know you're a virgin, but there's no need to come on adults chat here and start talking shit to
For
people.
Pete's sake.
You know what I mean? Like, it's grand. If there's any moderators there, just block them or whatever. But anyway, I don't want to be disrespecting.
You're a mug, Haywood. You're a mug. Oh, Haywood, you're a mug. But
sorry,
anyway,
Manny.
Back to your question.
Yeah.
That's all right, mate. It's all right. Listen, I mean, he's like a plague. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. We have to take care of ourselves. But I suppose if we have to be harsh on him and say, we need more out of him and we don't think he's the right answer, I'm saying the jury should be out on him now. Because for what it's worth, he could very well prove to be an option that we might need, especially with several of our frontline players, having been lost to injury. We don't have Nketiah now. He's injured. We might not have Trossard for a bit of time. Jesus isn't back yet. What if we lose Martinelli? What's our squad going to be like? And this is where, for the credit that we deserve in getting Jorginho and Trossard in, we should have signed some more players. So I'd like to say the jury would be out on Reiss Nelson. I'd like to see him actually, be picked in the squad more and actually be rewarded for the enterprise that he showed. It's criminal, really, how he was just, discarded after that 2-goal performance against Nottingham Forest, while Eddie Nketiah was, mollycoddled and treated like the golden child. Maybe, like Emi Martinez, who proved to be our diamond in the rough that season when we won the FA Cup, Reiss Nelson could be that diamond in the rough. I say we at least keep him and give him some chance until the end of the season, and then we can decide to let him go. I mean, injuries have hurt him. He has shown that he has some ability. I say let the jury be out on him, and then at the end of the season, we'll analyze everything and decide if he's the right answer long term.
Yeah. Well, I do get it, why it's up in the air. And I'm not just sort of saying this because of the game he had today, and he was brilliant today. I have to give it to him. You have to say it. But his injury it does wreck your head, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It's, he just hasn't got that chance. Is he another, what was that other player, the French? Oh, it'll come to me in a minute. I can't think of it. He was a world-class player. He kept getting injured. He could never do it. And we kept on dragging it out and trying to sign him. It was under Wenger. It'll come to me in a minute. I'm going to Google if I don't. But, look, let's go back to the game today. I just thought, Kyle, that years, of watching past Premier League champions, no, I'm using that lightly, okay? They always got a win. The Man Uniteds, the Chelseas, the Man Cities, they would have been losing. They come back and they win the game. Can you not sort of get that sort of point of view in your head, or is it just no? Because the reason why I'm saying this is because every last game, now what do we have, 12, 13 games left? Every game is a cup final. I'm going to say that we have to win every game because Man City, by Jesus Christ, they're going to probably win nearly all of their last games. You know what I mean? Now, we have the advantage of we play them. We will come to that another time. But is the pressure there for the players? Every week, every day that they're playing, they have to win it. So can you allow that flexibility for the players to be nervous? Or what are you saying?
The professional footballers getting paid millions of pounds. They have to be up for the pressure. Does Nadal walk out onto the tennis courts in grandstands and be nervous, thinking, am I good enough to win this? Am I good enough to win that? Elite sport is all about winning, being number one. These players have been practicing since the age of 3 and 4, that way, all their lives to reach where they have reached. And fair play to them all. The fact of the matter is that this current squad of players for Arsenal Football Club is not good enough to win a Premier League. People will laugh at me and say to me, Kyle, what are you talking about? We're 5 points clear, blah, blah, blah. We're one kick away, from being 3 points in the difference between us and Man City, but Man City to play us in the Etihad with a better goal difference. That's how close we were today. If Man City beat us in the Etihad, now they go on top of the Premier League and they're going to stay there. That's how close this Premier League is, We have to go and we have to play some tough teams, and so does City. But City has the squad. We don't. That's the difference, there, boy. Yes, today Nelson popped up and he did the magic, and I tapped him on the back and I said, fair play to you. But how many more times is Nelson going to do the same as done today? Not that much. We have Fabio Vieira. Not good enough to win a Premier League title. We have Odegaard running around like a headless chicken today. We have Smith Rowe coming back from injury. Fair play to the chap. My opinion, pack his bags and sell him in the summer. Not good enough. 2 injury prone. Jack Wilshere, the same. 2 injury prone.
But do you like if we don't have the squad strength, do we have to sacrifice Europe then? Because the number one thing surely should be the Premier League.
Number one is the Premier League and the Europa League, that boy.
But if you're saying that if we don't have the squad depth, do you know what I mean? Like, do we have to sacrifice one? You know what I mean? Like, or are you saying like Saka should be playing in the Europa League and then a few days later in thing?
Yeah, 100%. And the reason why I'm saying that, boy, is because Saka is about to sign a new contract, 200 plus thousand a week. There, boy, you're getting up Monday morning and you're going to work Monday to Friday, the same as me. I'm getting out of my bed at 4:45 every morning and getting home at 6:30 in the evening every evening. For what? For pittance. Now, should I not now get up? So does that mean I get up Monday, go to work, and then take Tuesday off and go back to work Wednesday because I'm a bit tired? Fuck these fucking footballers, there, boy. They're multi-millionaires, man. Can you not play a game of football on a Saturday and a game on Thursday and a game on Sunday, say, and you sit back with about 40 or 50 million in your bank account? Sure, of course you could. I tell you the truth, there, boy. For that money, I play every day. There's so many excuses being made up. We're playing in the Premier League and we're playing the Europa League. As far as I'm concerned, 2 of them are number one targets. As far as I'm concerned, the league sport is about winning the competitions that you're in. Therefore, I expect Arsenal Football Club, with the squad that we have, that I don't think is good enough, by the way, but I want us to show and compete and try and win. But from the position that we've been in the Premier League, it's different that way. There's no excuses to show up in the league. That's the facts. That's the facts. That's the facts. You mightn't like the facts, but that's the facts.
But look, I agree with this as well. Like, because like, guys, I'll just read it out. Sorry, guys, we can surely focus on the upcoming games against City. All the other games are worth 3 points each. We can't take the pressure off any game. Like I agree with that 100%. That's why I'm saying it's a cup final and the pressure is on the players. You know, like me just looking at the Everton game because I was there, they put in an absolutely outstanding performance. I think we'll learn a lesson from today. I really do think they will. The younger players will learn the lesson. You know, you have to be ready the second the referee blows that whistle. Because what was it, 9 seconds? It was goal in. You have to be ready. And this is elite football. Top football. You have to be tuned in. If you're not tuned in, you go a goal down, you go 2 goals down with a blink of an eye. You know? So I think in fairness to Arteta, I think he'll drill it into them big time. He has to. He has no fucking option because it will happen again. You know? And I just want to then turn this onto the Tierney thing. And I actually wanted to sort of get the 2 Warrens' point of view, but they're not there. If they're in the chat, please do drop a comment in. When I was at the game against Everton on Wednesday night, Zinchenko obviously started left back. At one stage, he was over on the right midfield, up so high. There was no one at our left back. No one. And it's a position that I think... Now, I'm not blaming Zinchenko at all. I think that's his sort of role, is to sort of float into the midfield, and just the flow of the game brought him over to the right-hand side of midfield. But I think Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, whoever else, big teams we've left, will punish us with that. Because you're left back or whatever on a good team will ping a ball straight over to our left-hand side where we have all the space and they'll punish us. At one stage, I seen Martinelli back in left back, back on our goal, basically back on our goal line. That's how far back he was. He has to work so much when Zinchenko's involved in the game. And I think it's sort of it's like, we need him up there. Like, get up front. That's where he needs to be. That's where he is best. And the only reason I just think Tierney would complement Martinelli more. He'll stick in that position, and Martinelli can just worry about going up forward, crossing the ball in, dribble it through, try to score, try to create chances. And that's just an area that I looked at, and it concerns me a small bit. Manny, would you, or is it working? Is this tactics working with the Zinchenko pulling out from left back, going into the midfield area, exposing Martinelli on that left-hand side? What are you saying about it?
I think the answer to that question of yours, Dale Boy, was pretty much given in the first 10 seconds. It was a cross that sort of, the action sort of went down the right. Zinchenko, the left back, was nowhere to be seen. And another cross was whipped in. Saliba and Partey were both caught napping, literally. And Philip lived up to his billing with a fine finish. So that was another piece of proof that, no, the system isn't working because Zinchenko simply can't play. When you have a situation where you want to try to take advantage of Zinchenko's technical expertise by having him play a sort of a dynamic role of being a central midfielder / left back and having him cut in, and you run the risk of that exposure, you're asking for trouble. When it comes to Martinelli, and I'll come to him later in a minute. Oh yeah, I'll come to Martinelli in a minute. You're asking too much from Zinchenko, really. He simply doesn't have the ability, in my opinion, to be able to balance both roles effectively. You either give him one or don't give him one. Give him anything. You give him one role and have him stick to it. You don't ask him to do two. And the sad thing about today was that with Partey coming back, whose coverage of the ball is absolutely amazing, Zinchenko had his chance to mainly focus on defense and try and be a little bit of a better support for Martinelli, but he wasn't completely overlapping Martinelli. But again, he was caught. He was caught out for the first goal, and we never really saw him really, handle his defensive duties with aplomb. Even against Everton, mind you, he had a couple of bad giveaways, which could very easily have been punished. Except, of course, we were up against an Everton team that couldn't hit a horse's backside with a banjo. But this Bournemouth team, mind you, had he given those balls away, we could very easily have been under the cosh. So no, the system isn't working. And I come to Martinelli now. Martinelli has sort of been, shielded from the problems of not having Tierney play with him by being able to work beautifully with Trossard. Because if you notice, the thing about Trossard and Martinelli is that they're able to sort of almost interchange positions, really. Because Trossard does like to cut in, but he also plays in the center. Martinelli can also go out a little bit wide, but he's also been more comfortable trying to, feed off Trossard in a way. And it's worked really well, the same way that he was able to feed off Jesus quite brilliantly. But when Trossard went off with that injury, you could see that Martinelli was starting to get a little bit more and more isolated. So therein lies the problem. Why should any manager be forced to... why should Martinelli be forced to end up struggling in that particular system just because Arteta has this harebrained idea of a system which involves having his left back double up as a central defensive midfielder? I'm sorry, but that just doesn't work. Now, I don't really know what he has against Tierney. I suppose if I would like to be fair to Arteta, the only reason why Tierney is once again not getting any minutes at all is because he might not really be match fit. I let off a sarcastic cheer when Tierney came on for the last 9 minutes against Everton, and the pity is that the poor thing just can't take his bowl and do an Oliver Twist and say, "Please, coach, can I have some more minutes?" He can't do that, you see. He's at the mercy of a coach who, quite frankly, doesn't rate him, who is so infatuated with his system, who he just can't see the wood from the trees. For what it's worth, he might play Tierney in the Europa League, and Tierney will have a terrific game doing what he does best. But then he'll be shelled back for the Premiership because Arteta loves his system too much. But again, if that system is exploited by a better team, who will almost certainly now have another blueprint on how to beat us. And look, I'm going to come to your point, Raviel. You make a point when you say that he scores with some of those missed chances. I'm sorry, but I can't abide by that. He scored against Aston Villa, but even in that game as well, he was found wanting defensively. If you are a left back, your main responsibility is to be able to defend well and also to be able to overlap well. But the way Zinchenko has been playing in the midfield simply hasn't been able to help Martinelli at all. So I'm sorry, I can't abide by that. It's all well and good for people like you, Raviel, with all due respect, to say that, you can't change a winning team. But here's the thing. The best managers don't change winning teams. They improve winning teams. They find out what's going wrong, and they change it, and they see the results. Carlo Ancelotti replaced Marco Asensio when he realized that Asensio wasn't doing the business. And then his replacements came on and did the business as Real Madrid won La Liga and the Champions League. So I'm sorry, you can definitely set this right, and it has to be set right. And so the only reason why Arteta won't do that is, to me, he strikes me as being someone who is either so tactically ignorant or intellectually arrogant. Or could he be both? Both is good. A nice scene from El Dorado there. So I'll be very brief now. I'm sorry, and I'll let Carl have his say. The biggest problem here is that it's Arteta's tactical arrogance that could very well see him upended. And the only reason why we're still benefiting now is really because other teams really have just, imploded. It happened with Aston Villa. It's happened with Bournemouth. We've somehow managed to get the courage to keep coming at them. And then we would end up winning. But again, the thing about people like Mr. Walsh and myself, as I said again before, and I'll say again, you can't serve us crap and tell us that it's chicken curry. We've seen performances where we played well, still ended up going behind, but still went on to win. The 3-2 against Aston Villa in 2002, I'm sure both of you might remember that game. That was a game when we tried our best, when Aston Villa outplayed us, but then we found our strength and went on to beat them with a last-minute goal. That was quality. This has nothing to do with quality. And so back to the Tierney question, I want to see him, if he is match fit enough to be in the squad and train well with the squad, he has to be given more minutes. And if Zinchenko has a poor game where he's caught out for some goals which could cost us, then that will show very emphatically that Arteta quite simply is wrong about this system and he has to change. And if he doesn't change, then he will prove that he has no tactical awareness and has no humility or magnanimity to accept, I'm wrong, I need to change things. And that's all I'm going to say about the matter.
Yeah, and I just want to go back to what Steve said here just about Zinchenko, and it actually makes it's a point I didn't really think about, but fair play to Steve. Not rocket science. Moves Zinchenko into midfielder and Tierney at left back, but seems beyond there, Arteta. Kyle, what do you could that work if Xhaka or if Xhaka is sort of getting tired, if it's affecting the team? Why not?
That's why. Zinchenko plays instead of Xhaka all day long in midfield. Tierney, match face, plays left back. You see, this comes down to simple facts again. The best left back at Arsenal Football Club is Tierney. End of story. End of conversation. He's the best left back we have. I was far as saying he's the best captain we have. Therefore, in my eyes, he should be left back. If Zinchenko wants to play, and Arteta has this fascination of Zinchenko going into midfield, drop Xhaka and play Zinchenko. Very simple. Because if we keep doing what we're fucking doing, it's okay doing it against the likes of Bournemouth today, but we're still to play Chelsea. And the fans out there will say, but sure, Chelsea is this, Chelsea's fucking Chelsea, and Chelsea can turn it on at any given time. The same with Liverpool, that we still have to play. The same with Man City. The same with Newcastle. Because them teams have a bit of quality about them. The likes of Bournemouth now have no quality. So when Shevchenko goes floating like a butterfly into fucking midfield and they have that massive gap wide open and left back position, we are going to have De Bruyne. You're going to have fucking Thiago for Liverpool. You're going to have quality players for these bigger teams putting the ball into the space that's left wide open, and we will be fucking ripped apart. Then come back and talk to me about Shevchenko in the chat. As far as I'm concerned, want to be a midfielder, Shevchenko, no problem, son. You're a good footballer, no problem. Go up there, though, and get Xhaka out of there. Xhaka's legs are gone on him. He's having a fantastic season. Fair play to the man. But if that's the way you want it, Del White, that's the only solution, man. We need Tierney, match face, left back, and captain of the team. End the conversation.
Yeah, look, that's fair enough. And like, we just have these positions that are probably after coming available too. Is like, you know, if Shaq is not injured and stuff like that, you know, for me, if you're resting him, it's a no-brainer. I don't know why he picked Vieira today over Zinchenko and put Tierney there. And people are saying, well, Tierney's not match fit. Well, he should be fucking certainly fit enough to fucking play 90 minutes. You know what I mean?
Was he on the subs bench?
I'll tell you now, 2 seconds. Uno momento.
He was on the bench, Kyle.
Yeah, but if he's on the fucking bench, then that means he's fit enough to play. Simple. Very simple, as you don't put injured players on the fucking bench.
Exactly.
You put down your players to space. If he's on the bench, that's the soap. He's fit enough to play miles. Arteta don't want him there, then why? It's obvious for the world to see. He don't fancy him.
Yeah.
But we will be caught out by us.
Yeah, we will. Like, as I says, when I was there on Wednesday night and I seen that, and now I'm a fucking idiot. Keep saying it to everyone. I know I'm not fucking here dictating. I know everything about football. I fucking don't. But I'll tell you one thing. I could fucking see it. If I can fucking see it, a professional manager can certainly see this is how you get Arsenal. You pull Zinchenko out of that area and you lump the ball into it. And our right midfielder gets in, whips the ball in. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Gemma, what are you saying? What have you calmed down now? Has your head relaxed? Calm down.
A little bit, yeah.
Gemma was losing the plot earlier on. She lost the plot so much she had to bounce off the fucking screen. Calm down, Gemma.
No, I had to go shopping, but I don't have any data, so it's a bit annoying.
Here, bring us into Tesco. We'll go wherever you want to go. It doesn't matter. What do you think? Like, for me, a huge win. Let's not take away that. Like, you know, a huge win. I wasn't expecting it when we were 2-0 down. I was not at all, you know.
Do you know what? Neither was I, because when Trossard went off, I was like, obviously I saw it later again, and because I weren't really looking at the lineups, and it weren't till I saw Trossard has come off, and I was like, oh, Nketiah's come on. It weren't till I scrolled down, I was like, hold on a minute, Nketiah's not on the bench.
Yeah.
I was like, so why is Smith Rowe come on? And then I was just thinking to myself, no, we're not going to win this. Like, I think by that point we were like 2-0 down, and I was thinking, we're not. This isn't going to work. We're gonna end up losing this. But obviously we didn't.
Yeah, no, like, and even for me, Gemma, I agree with you. I was the exact same. I was there when Trossard was going off. Oh, what the fuck, like, you know. I'm worried.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you guys.
Because now I think now he's injured. Who are we having as a backup striker? Don't get me wrong, Nelson was good, but Smith Rowe's now injured. Apparently.
This is the thing. What are we going to do? We've Trossard supposedly injured. We don't know how long it's going to be. Eddie's injured. You know, what the fuck are we going to do now?
Well, Eddie's not really good, is he?
But even like that, I think Arteta's hands is probably being forced now. He's probably going to have to play Martinelli in that centre role. You know?
Yeah.
Who do we put in Martinelli's role now? If Smith Rowe's injured, if Trossard's injured, you know, I don't know.
Or do it as 4-3-2.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm going to leave it to the professionals here. Mane, the professional. What's the answer, mate? What's the answer?
If you're calling me a professional, Del Boy, there is no hope. Let me tell you that right now.
You know more than me.
Ah, Christ alive. Okay, so here's the deal, in the words of President Biden. We've got Trossard in.
Manny, you need to go down to Arsenal and tell them to sign you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jem. Now,
That's all right.
So here's the deal. We've got Trossard injured. We've got Smith Rowe, who came on and looked okay, but then he had to go off injured. And now Nketiah is also crocked. So we have Reece Nelson, we have Bukayo Saka, who is still fit and still running around, and now we have Gabriel Martinelli. And I don't even know if Jesus is back yet. I don't know what's his situation. I mean, it would be nice if Jesus were to come back before Easter. That would be an absolute miracle. And yet we still don't know if that will completely happen. You got the pun there, didn't you, Del?
Yeah.
So I think we could possibly have a situation where we might have to, bite the bullet and maybe play Saka, not necessarily out of position, but he has been played on the left before, and then put Reece Nelson on the right. But I'm going to take a look at the squad and see what options we have. So we played something like a 4-3-3. It was a 4-3-3 because, again, we had a false 9. And then on the bench, in addition to defenders, we had Smith Rowe, Jorginho. We only had Reece Nelson. And so in terms of attacking, we are very thin on the ground. And then, of course, there is an issue with Xhaka's legs not quite being up to it. Obviously, certain changes will pretty much, materialize themselves. Fabio Vieira will end up, coming off, and then Xhaka will have to come back on. And again, having only Reece Nelson on the bench is not a good look. Do we perhaps try and, make a request to Florian Balogun's French club to try and have him come back, send an SOS? Can that happen? I'm not too sure. I'm thinking, obviously, if we were to perhaps, we might possibly have to have a situation where we could end up, and I've been saying this as a formation, a possibility for some games. And it goes back to the question that was asked earlier: why couldn't we play Zinchenko and Tierney in the same team? I'm envisaging a 4-2-3-1. Ben White at right back, no ifs or buts or macadamia nuts. Centre backs stay the same, but Saliba has to have some questions asked about him. For him to be caught napping for that first goal was absolutely unforgivable. Tierney comes in at left back, again, no ifs or buts. Zinchenko comes in as one of the defensive midfielders alongside Thomas Partey. Yes, he was to blame for the for Bournemouth's second goal, and he was committing a few fouls, but you can see the difference he was making. And that segues back to the brilliant point that Mr. Walsh made when I asked him a question as to whether or not we would have Jorginho competing with Partey and maybe starting over him. I think that question was answered emphatically against Everton when Partey replaced Jorginho at halftime. And now with Partey coming back and having a lot more of that coverage, we sort of have to get him in. So again, we have the three attacking people up, sort of in front of the defensive midfielders. I'm envisaging someone like, it might possibly be that you could have Saka on the left and Reece Nelson on the right, with maybe Granit Xhaka as the central attacking midfielder. It's either him or Martin Odegaard. It's not a choice I'm very fond of. And then you could play Martinelli in the centre because at least he'd be forced to, operate down the channel and not go out too wide. So the bottom line here is, Del Boy, we're down to our bare bones. And this is where Reece Nelson actually could have a very important role to play, because just one look at the lineup, and I am going to take a look at the, just share the screen right now. Where are my manners, people? Please forgive me. I should have shared the screen with you and told you what the situation is. But here is the lineup. Take a look at the bench. Tierney, defender. White, defender. Kyrgios, defender. Holding, defender. Smith Rowe, attacking midfielder. Jorginho, defensive midfielder. Matt Turner, backup goalkeeper. Granit Xhaka, midfielder, either defensive or attacking, and then Reece Nelson, the only attacker on the bench. So that sort of brings this whole transfer window issue to roost, in that now with these injuries we are down to our bare bones. So what can we possibly do? If we can't play Reece Nelson, then the only thing to do is to try and recall Florian Balogun from his loan deal, get him back, play him as a striker maybe, see if he can translate his form to the Premiership, have Martinelli and Saka back on the left and right, and all is well. But again, it just goes to show that with our squad now to its bare bones with potential injuries, I think I'm going to have to agree with Kyle Walsh. Our chances of winning the league are getting smaller and smaller, and I think this result has just confirmed it. This is every inch the definition of a Pyrrhic victory.
And the gentleman's after entering the room. I'll get his opinion. Mr. B, what are you saying? Are we overreacting?
Big up, Dale. Yeah, big up to you all, Kyle and Manny and Gemma.
Mr. B, pleasure.
Yeah, how you all doing? Yeah, you're actually happier tonight, aren't you? Happier this
I'm
time.
all right. I'm suffering from COVID at the moment, but I'm okay.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Gemma. Sorry.
Well, I'm getting over it. I've just done another test and there's faint line, which I'm glad about, but I'm getting over it.
Just get the drink into you, you'll be grand.
Get
Don't worry. You'll be happy to know I had a hot sausage roll today from Greg's.
Oh, Jesus, what's fucking up? Send me the link where it is, then please.
I love the bacon
It must be you that don't like you. They see you coming.
Bacon sarnies in Greg's, I love them. Bacon sarnies. Lovely.
He had one the other day, he said it's freezing cold.
Yeah, when it comes to sandwiches, you can't beat Pret a Manger. I'm sorry. My brother-in-law got me hooked on that, and I haven't been able to waver.
Yeah, so Mr. B, what are you saying, anyway? What did you make of the game? Did you see it?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it's good to come on here when you've actually won a game, because when I've been on before, you've either lost or, what was it, a draw? When we should have beat you, actually. Yeah. Last time I come on. And you was a bit lucky there, weren't you? And again, of course, against Villa. So maybe, you know, you could have lost both of those, and, you know, this might be Premiership winning form at the end of the day.
Well, from like, let's say, obviously a neutral point of view, like I was saying earlier on to Kyle, like, you know, we were all looking at the Man United's coming back from a goal down and going on to win a game. We've seen Chelsea, Man City, all the ex-champions and all do it. Why can't it be us? Like, you know, from a neutral point of view, would you say not Kyle Walsh is just a negative bollocks from Wexford and he needs to quieten down?
No, I think he's still right to be like that, to be negative, because, you know, I mean, you still got to hold on and be grounded here. I mean, you got lucky win against. I know you said we there, and I'm not really an Arsenal supporter, but you know, you got a lucky win against Bournemouth at the end of the day. I mean, you could have lost that easily. So, you know, that's at least 3 or 4 games you've been lucky. So, you know, you can't argue with that. You've been lucky, and you could easily win the Premiership now with all that luck. So. Yeah. You know, and you had the Leicester spotted Reece Nelson turn up and scored one today. So, you know, it's very lucky there, man. But
yeah, no, I agree with you. And Kyle, I just want to come to you. What was your phone hopping as much as my phone would have been? You know what I mean? From the Man United fans, the Liverpool fans, and God knows whoever else.
The usual crack there, boy. But just a couple of things I like to say. Number one, you talk about Balogun, isn't it? That's his name, isn't it?
Balogun, yeah.
Balogun, yeah.
You're on about bringing him back to the club and trying to play him up, setting forward. Leave him in the French league. Not fucking good enough. People get carried away, scoring goals left, right, and centre. It's the French fucking league. I'd score that. We said Farmers League. He was here. Not good enough for the Premier League. Not good enough for Arsenal Football Club. Let him on. I'm talking about standards here. He ain't the fucking standard either. That's me. That's being straight about it. You're talking about the squad is getting very limited now. Like I keep going back to, squad ain't good enough to win this Premier League. And then you're talking about players missing. Saka, might put Saka left wing, might put Nedson here, might do this, might do that. You play Kieran Tierney left back. You play Shevchenko where Martinelli is on the left.
Yeah.
And you play Martinelli in the centre. And that's it. That's how you do it, Del Boy, moving forward. With the way the squad is at the minute.
Yeah, Tierney at left back. He's got to be, isn't he?
Put a player. Put him out there and then go. Then if he wants to bomb forward, let him bomb forward. Help out Shevchenko. You have your Xhaka, then you have your Partey, you have your Odegaard, you have your Saka, you still have Martinelli up forward. So basically you have Shevchenko instead of Martinelli or Trossard on the left. Because Trossard is out injured. That's how I do it. Play Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Ramsdale. That's your team. That's your team. Fuck Nelson. He scored. He scored today. And fair play to him. Big up to him. Not good enough. Not good enough.
Like, Kyle, like, what I'll say is, like, see the way we have, like, I'm just looking at the fixtures here now. We have Sporting Lisbon now next Thursday away. You know, I'm going full strength there. Full fucking tilt. I'm like, you know, there's no messing around there. You know, what I'm talking about, that is Tomiyasu right back. I'm done with him now. He's an average player. I'm not in agreement that he can break in. I'm happy with Ben White there. You know,
Tomiyasu got good enough there, boy.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. 100%. I do agree with you.
I agree.
Yeah. Like, Manny, what's your starting 11 for Thursday? Because we then have to go. I'm sorry, I'm just going to check. I know it's Fulham, but I don't know if it's home or away. We have Fulham. It's away. So, you know, bear that in mind. You're playing Thursday and you're playing Sunday. I think it's
we got Fulham on Monday, by the way. We're softening them up for you. How about that?
Hopefully you will. But Manny, what's your starting 11 sort of for Thursday?
I want to go back and just sort of go back to what Mr. Walsh was saying. The prospect of playing Alexander Zinchenko as more for left winger and having Martinelli sort of forward. I'll be honest with you. There's a part of me that hasn't really thought of that, but that's probably only because I just don't see Zinchenko having that turn of pace, which would be able to, separate a winger from just someone who would be on the left side. And certainly, my biggest fear of playing Zinchenko on the left wing is that maybe he doesn't really have that sort of dynamism that Martinelli would necessarily have. But again, I also take his point that Nelson might simply not really be good enough to be given the responsibility of starting a game, with now the squad being to its bare bones as it is. So I'm actually going to sort of, take Mr. Walsh's suggestion and maybe consider a lineup like this. Obviously, Ramsdale in goal. Ben White stays at right back. No ifs, no buts, no walnuts. It will have to be, as I said, Saliba and Gabriel, but questions will have to be asked about Saliba based on, the goal that was conceded within 10 seconds today. You've got to make sure that you are on it from the whistle. You cannot be caught napping like that. Tierney comes in at left back. No question about it. And so that leaves Zinchenko a role in the midfield. If you end up being in a situation where you want to play Zinchenko on the left midfield, that would invariably mean having to play both Xhaka and Partey there. And, Partey starts ahead of Jorginho. I think Mr. Walsh can agree with me on that.
Yeah.
But then again, if you have that sort of an idea with Zinchenko being on the left, who would be the central attacking midfielder in the 4-2-3-1 formation? That is where the question gets asked. Because in as much as Fabio Vieira was anonymous today, Odegaard was simply whipping 3 kicks and not really doing very much. He was trying to have some shots at goal, trying to make himself the hero like he was in the earlier fixture earlier on the season, and he couldn't do that. So do we bite the bullet and keep Odegaard in there? That is where questions will have to be asked. Or do we have a situation where, because again, I simply cannot see, Zinchenko being brought up there and that central attacking midfield position being given to Odegaard, who was anonymous, because other teams are going to look to try and attack him. I would like to see someone like Xhaka playing in that central attacking midfield role, because at least he has the heft to be able to, create something, but also be able to try to win things back and make himself seen and heard. Odegaard just doesn't have the ability to do that. So it is going to be very, very difficult to try to sort of make an 11 right now. I think because Zinchenko doesn't have the dynamism for me to be able to run forward, I simply don't know if we can risk him. But again, we have another situation. Who do we put as a forward? Who do we have as a left winger? So it will possibly have to be, a situation where Zinchenko is the defensive midfielder alongside Partey. It can work to his advantage. And then Saka has played on the left before. He is naturally left-footed. So the nice thing about Saka is that he can also go out wide, but he also knows how to come in. I mean, he is naturally left-footed, but he does have a decent right foot. So why not stick him there? And Nelson also, I think we're in a situation now where unless we actually give him the responsibility to play in a game like this, we'll never know if he's good enough. I just don't know.
He had loads of chances. He's had a lot of chances before, hasn't he? And hasn't really proved himself. At the end of the day.
Well, you could say that about Edwin Nketiah as well this season, and that's the problem.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, you're right there, Manny. Yeah.
You could say that about Nketiah, and aside from his winner against Manchester United, he hasn't really done the business. Whereas at least Nelson has been able to come up with a performance today, and of course against Nottingham Forest. So again, this just underlines how bare-boned our squad is, that we have to talk this way. I can't see Zinchenko playing as a left winger because again, it just wouldn't work that way. Yeah.
Sorry, Manny, for interfering. That's why I may go on. I get an important phone call there. But come here to tell you, big up to you all. That boy, thanks for having me on your show again. Thanks to all the chat, Mr. B, Jenna, Manny. Always a pleasure to share the screen. There, boy. Before I go, just one comment to make, and then I go. You can get me on Kyle Walsh Gunner. Kyle Walsh Gunner. Thanks everyone for subscribing. Please hit the subscribe button. There, boy. Listen to these words before I go, because you will all come back to me next week and say, Jesus, Kyle. Fulham will beat Arsenal next week, and our league title challenge is over. Trust me. We'll come back to that. You have me now on screen saying that. We'll come back to us. We will not beat Fulham next week. On that note, I'm out of here. Talk to you all later, lads.
Good man, Kyle.
See ya.
Big up to you.
You're a great one, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Take care, lads. Bye-bye.
As always, Kyle. Take care.
Thanks, Kyle.
Right. So in a nutshell, it would be Ramsdale, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tierney, and then Partey, Zinchenko. Then you have Nelson, Xhaka, Saka on the left, and Martinelli up front. That really is the only solution I can possibly think of. Because again, when you have, we now have a situation where we've loaned out several of our players. I believe Marquinhos has gone to Norwich in the Championship, if I'm not wrong, yeah. And Sambi Lokonga is, of course, now with Crystal Palace, although I really don't see us having to call him back. But again, you see our attacking options on the wing are so short that we literally have to field this sort of patched up team. But I do like the idea of giving Nelson his chance and sort of letting the jury be out on him this season. So this season could very well be the make or break for him. If he is able to take advantage of the chances that he gets, and if he proves to be the difference between, us getting a win when we could have drawn or getting a draw when we could have lost, I say, we now have to sort of bite the bullet. And evening to you, Mr. Sullivan. I hope you can come on.
Yeah,
maybe you'll have something to say. And it just goes to show that with Reece Nelson, we have to take a chance on him, because if we don't throw him in and give him his chance, we'll never know what he got. And I don't want to be one of those people who will gaslight him by saying, well, he's had his chance in the Europa League. I think the internet, yeah. As I said, the Europa League and the Premiership are two different kettles of fish. I think Nelson seems to thrive on Premiership action, so we might as well play this formation, stick Martinelli up front, and then see what will happen for the best.
But Manny, I think what you said there is right. I can possibly see Reece Nelson starting on Thursday night. Do you know what I mean? Because he's just short up front now at the minute.
Got to rest Saka as well, haven't you? He's got to have a rest at some stage.
No, but see, even what Stephen says there earlier on, it's full strength every match. It has to be. You know what I mean? We see what Man United done when they bet Barcelona. They thought they won the Champions League. Never mind being in the Europa League. So how important it is to them in Europe. So we have to act that way as well. Like we have to go, this is Europe. Let's go all for it. You know, so I honestly, I mean, at this minute, I don't know who he's going to play up front. If we don't have Eddie, Smith Rowe, Trossard available, we obviously know Jesus is injured. I don't know where he's going to go. I could possibly, just thinking off the top of my head, Saka can play anywhere. You know, he can swap over left, right, and whatever. Martinelli up front, puts Reece Nelson on the right and Saka on the left. It's the only thing I can see. You know, I don't know. If anyone can turn around and say, here, you're talking shy, fair enough. I agree with you. I am. You know, Gemma, are you worried about our up front lack of firepower? Does it worry you?
I'm okay with it. I just think, like, if obviously Trossard, if he's okay, then yeah, keep him up front. But if not, then put Saka or even Martinelli, or even get that Ethan boy in, the 15-year-old. Like, I went to the under-18 match the other day, and I think he scored 2 goals. And I was like, and he came up to us and he was speaking to all the fans. And I was like, look, you did well. You need to, like, I said, you need to contact Arteta and see if you can get in the first team squad again. I said, because what you did, I said, was good. I said, they're on the way to winning the league. I said, and like, if you can't get in, I said, especially if they go like, with not many players, like if most of them get injured. And he was like, yeah, I'll have to do that. I was like, because you did it for, I think, Brentford. I said, and you were on there literally a minute. I said, and I could see, like, we were watching it, you wanted to get a goal. And he was like, yeah. He was like, this is my first goal for this team, this one. And I was like, yeah, see, I was like, so maybe you should ask Arteta, look, can I come in again?
Did he come on against
to
us?
the first team?
I didn't know that. I didn't see him come on against us, against Brentford. Did he play against us? Oh, right.
I think it was Brentford. I can't remember.
Yeah, no, I know. I forget who. I know who you're talking about, and I forget what team it was. It was the youngest player ever in the Premier League or something like that. That young fella. Gemma, you seem to have said a lot to him, but there's one thing you forgot to fucking say to him. Subscribe to Del Boy Bleeding Gunner.
I got a picture with him, so it was literally like a 2-minute thing. So.
Not good enough. I'm only joking.
But no, I said it to all 3 of them. Like, there was 3 people I got a picture with, and I said to them, like, look, you lot maybe ask the first team manager, like, look, can I come in just so then I can get ready? So if you lot want to sign me, I don't know, in 2-3 years' time, then at least I'm ready for that league. I said, even if it's like next week or the game in like 2-3 months, the last game of the league, I said, at least you're there. I said, and if he wants to sign you in the August summer transfer window, they can. And most of them were like, actually, yeah, do you know what? You've got a point.
And see, the thing about Jamie, like, you do have a point. It's great, like, you know, but we have Eddie, or do you hear me, Eddie? We have Adu to get these contracts and Garlic Head to get these contracts over the line, which I worry about our youth system and stuff like that. But that's probably another day's conversation. Please do like fucking shite here that we're doing and subscribe if you don't mind.
Even the little kids, like the under 6-year-olds, they were better. They were doing fucking penalty shoots out with Gunnosaurus. I said, so they'll be alright.
Future England stars breaking the penalty.
Yeah, literally, they're only about 6. I was going to sign them.
Right, so look, I'm going to wrap it up there, and I want to just, Gemma, while you're there, shout out your socials and anything else you want to say, if you anything coming up.
My social is, my Instagram is there. I'm not really on Twitter at the moment because I've changed my phone, so I can't remember my Twitter handle and everything. My YouTube is, if you find it, it should be under Gemma Vivian. And yeah, hopefully we win something. The league, Premier League, Europa League.
We're going for the lot here. We don't accept that now. A lot. Thanks a million, Gemma. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And then Mr. B, what's the crack? So do you want to shout out your socials? What are you doing? Is Mr. B TV coming alive, or what's the happening?
Well, it might be sometime, Dale. I just see what's coming, mate. Just watch this space, But before I say about my my socials and that, can I just add that I would rest Saka in Europe because you risk burnout and injuries and all that. So I would actually rest him, and I would even give maybe Turner a go in goal.
I was going to say that, yeah.
I know Ramsdale's
for the Europa game.
Great. Yeah, I know Ramsdale's awesome, and he was brilliant again today. But you've got to give Turner a go, and then give him a rest, and then I think he's obviously going to bring Xhaka back in as well. By the looks of it, I would have thought so. I'll definitely give Saka a rest, but it's who you're going to put there. Is it probably Nelson? I would have said. Might as well give him a go now.
Yeah.
See what he can do again.
Mr. B, the problem is, mate, that look, we don't really now have an established striker, so we bring Martinelli into the centre, who plays on the left wing. That's the problem. I don't want to see Zinchenko there. I don't think he has the dynamism to do that. So it will be.
Can't we bring Kiwior on?
Yeah,
he's a defender, darling.
He's a defender, yeah.
Oh, okay,
he could replace Gabriel. Don't get me wrong. I like that thought, train of thought. But
because I think didn't he play against Chelsea in the under-21s, and he's 23. Like,
yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Like, he did play well. Actually, I've seen a few highlights. Like, now I know it's only highlights, but he did play well. I seen the ball he spun across for the setup of a goal, and fair play to him. And I suppose it is.
So I don't know why Arteta ain't playing him then. He's just stupid.
The thing about it is, like, Gabriel is in that sort of left centre midfield. He's sorted on the left with Zinchenko and Tierney. So it's unfortunate for him that Gabriel Magalhaes is playing every game, and he obviously doesn't seem to be, lacking of fitness or anything like that. So he's probably there, well, we don't need goals going in, and I trust the guy. So unfortunately for him, I think that's the way it is, Mr. B,
it was a waste of money then, basically.
Well, look, yeah, we'll see, because we're only an injury away if Magalhaes gets injured.
Well, I mean, with Saka, though, you don't want one of your best players going out injured, do you, at the end of the day? And that's what could happen, if you keep playing him and playing him to death, slogging him to death. He's going to be out injured, isn't he, at some stage?
Yeah.
So,
oh, don't even say that around here. We don't want that happening.
One of your most dangerous players, your best players, You don't want that to happen, do you?
It's like Mudryk at Chelsea. Now he's not getting played, and he's annoyed. So when I saw that, because he did there was this thing on Facebook. When I saw Mudryk wants to leave Chelsea, I was like, you should come Arsenal, mate. your fucking club should agree to it.
Anyway, you dodged the bullet in him.
I'll put this to bed now, right? Like, this is just like, let's say, years ago. I remember it happened to me years ago. I went out disco dancing and stuff like that, all right? Giving it loads, trying on my best chat-up lines, and some young one, she see me, and she was sort of torn between me and another guy. And you know what she done? She went to the other guy. All right, and I'm Arsenal here, and the other guy was Chelsea.
Look at
the state of fat fuck that you went out with the last time. You know what I mean?
So here's what you could have had, darling. Here.
Only joking. No, but come here, Mr. B. Well, one thing I do want is your socials. Smash them out there.
Yeah, man. Right. Basically, just Instagram. It's Bees Fan Forever on Insta, and that's it basically. Until I get the show sorted out.
yeah, exactly. Why not? And thanks a million, Gemma and Mr. B, for coming on the channel. And
no worries, man. No worries. Anytime.
Where are we at with you?
Well, first of all, if you want to look for me on YouTube, you can find me over here on Del Boy Gunner TV, my first, my last, my everything. Shout out as well to Oris Talks Football, Coach's Corner, Tony Claude Gunner TV, Danny AFC TV. Up the Cherries in all departments, a Bournemouth fan channel. They will actually be doing a call-in show to discuss this game, talking with some Bournemouth fans, and maybe I'll actually be going on there as an Arsenal fan to offer my perspective. And if you want to go on there and speak to them, Craig Beasley, Matt Harrison, Sam Harrison, wonderful, wonderful people, they'd be more than happy to have you. And also
They
big up
might
to
stay up, by the way. Bournemouth, wouldn't they? Do you think they'll stay up?
I hope they stay up. If they perform the way they did against City and us today, they should stay up. But O'Neill needs to get his tactics right. Yeah, there are several other channels which I'm not really able to recollect at this point, but I've been on them before. AFC Talk Show TV and several others. If I don't mention your name, I'll send you a check in the post. But I'm really grateful to have a chance to come on. I think
you owe everyone a check money.
Yes, I have many checks to write, you see. But I'm always happy to come on YouTube and speak about. I'm always happy to come on YouTube and talk about football with like-minded people, and especially in light of everything that's happening in the world today, we need to remember that football is just a game. We need to treat each other better. I think Malcolm X said it perfectly when he said that we either not Malcolm X, it was Martin Luther King who said we either learn to live with each other as equals or perish together as fools. So let's be respectful to one another and treat each other better. And the clues in my name, R.I.P. Stephen Featley. I'm sure he would have loved this win. Loved working with him on his channel. We miss you a great deal, and we hope that Arsenal do go on to win the league for your sake. But if we don't, you'll know who's to blame. It's Eddie Gaspar for failing miserably to strengthen the squad.
Manny, I don't know if you saw, on Twitter, I think it was a few days before he died, Martinelli actually put up, I think it was the Aston Villa goal, and he put Everton, I think it was, and he's put on there, that was for you, Stephen.
Yeah, it was Everton. Yeah, it was Everton. It was Everton.
Yeah, and I was like, oh wow, that is nice.
Yeah, credit for that should go to Miss Molina for raising awareness of that, and also
I saw that.
The publicity was done and that Martinelli responded. Gabby, you're a class act. We all love you, mate, and we're glad that you're here with us. I also want to big up Mr. B as well for his initiative for prostate cancer awareness. Get in touch with him. He will give you the link to donate to his cause as well. We all need to make sure that everyone gets checked. And as I said, let's all learn to spread some love for one another away from our football rivalries and our football passions. Until then, there's nothing much else to say. Enjoy your Sunday and sleep well tonight. Don't do anything that the four of us wouldn't do.
Saturday, you mean?
The Saturday's almost over. I mean, Sunday's still to come. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out and I need to sleep.
Good man, Manny. Thanks a million for that. Man. And thanks.
Sorry, Manny. It was the Leicester game. Look, it's here.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was the Leicester game.
Leicester.
Yeah.
So I've just seen it.
1-0. They're losing to Southampton, by the way. 1-0, Leicester. So.
I saw that.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, thanks a million again for coming on. Everyone, Kyle was here, Warren was here, Brandon was here, Oregon Gunner, TJ Warren, Mr. B, Gemma, the great Manny, and I know another person who was here in spirit, and it's Stephen Featley.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's proud of the boys today. To Stephen, and R.I.P. mate. It's I've been thinking about him a lot myself lately. I've been on a few of his streams. He's been on a few of my streams. And I just really hope I hope and we can all dedicate to him. Great Stephen. Yeah. Well, yeah, look, please hit the like on the way out. Subscribe if you're not already. We got a winner. We done it Fergie time. And I hope the man are there looking at this. I hope the fans are looking at this. But yeah, look, thanks a million for everyone in the chat as well. I really do appreciate it. Check out my vlogs. I've done a few vlogs the last few days and stuff like that. I'm absolutely bleeding exhausted. I'm going to have a few more of these. Enjoy the win. Enjoy the victory.
I've loads, man. You can celebrate it tonight, can't you?
Yeah. I am going to celebrate. Exactly, 100%. Thanks a million, everyone, and take care. And as I always say, take care.